Hello! Welcome to my first logic video. My first logic puzzle video, conveniently beginning at the 98th puzzle in my book, Fiendish Logic Puzzles by Puzzle Baron. The camera's still good? Alright. Okay, so the way I like to approach these is one clue at a time, instead of just reading them all out at once. Number 1. The Capti Bowl, the Yellow Nose, the Jenny Penny, and the two bought by Odette Opal and Nina Nunez are 5 different stamps. Okay, so we go to Odette Opal and we cross out Capti Bowl, Yellow Nose, and Jenny Penny. And we do the same for Nina Nunez, conveniently right next to each other. Number 2. Of Nina Nunez's stamp and Yellow Nose, one originally came out in 1879 and the other sold for $1,500, $150,000. Now, this tells us three things, but two things right away. First off, we know now that Nina Nunez's stamp and Yellow Nose are 2 different stamps. Unfortunately, we already knew that from our first clue. But the second one is that 1879 and 150,000 are different, so we can put an X there, right here. We'll come back to this. The third thing that this would tell us would be that, what it literally says, one is one, the other's the other, and we'll come back to that when we have more information. The stamp that was issued in 1868 sold for $50,000 less than the one issued in 1903. Okay, so first off, one thing you always want to notice is whatever you have here, or when you have numbers in general, you want to make a note of what the interval is. So here it's 25,000, so it's 50,000 less. So if, then 1903. So if 1903 was the most expensive, and it was 275,000, then the 1868 would be at most 225,000. And if the 1868 was the cheapest, then the least 1903 would be 175,000. And if there were any in between here, we could use that information, but we don't so far. So that's all we know so far. Okay. The most expensive stamp was either the Frog's Eye or the one issued in 1915. Now, again, you always have to think about what this is telling you. So if we knew which one was the one in 1915, and which one was the Frog's Eye, then we could use this to determine which one was the most expensive stamp. But right now, all we really know is that the Frog's Eye was not from 1915, so we can cross that out. And now, our next one's also about the 1915 stamp. It sold for somewhat less than 1879. Now, we don't know how much the 1879 sold for, but we do know that it can't be the least expensive because there's nothing less than that. And we know 1915 can't be the most expensive because that's not somewhat less than anything. And what less? Good. Okay, of the stamp that was issued in 1868 and the Bull's Dove, one was bought by Pam Parson and the other sold for $200,000. $200,000, yes. Okay, so again, we know that the Bull's Dove is not 1868, and Pam Parson is not 200,000, excuse me. And that's all we know so far. Capti Bowl sold for $75,000 more than Jenny Penny. So, okay, we know that the Capti Bowl is not Jenny Penny, first of all. Oh, Jenny Penny isn't a person, excuse me. Okay, so let's see, again. So if the Capta Bowl was the most expensive, then the most that Jenny Penny could be is 75,000 less than that, so 200. And if Jenny Penny was the least expensive, 125, the most Capta Bowl could be is 200. 1, 2, 3. Three intervals. Yellow Nose sold for 50,000 more than the stamp issued in 1821. Okay, Yellow Nose is not from 1821. We also know that it has to be, if 1821 was the cheapest, then the least Yellow Nose could be is 175, and if Yellow Nose was the most expensive 1821, which happens to be the oldest, we cross these out too. The stamp that was issued in 1868 sold for somewhat more than Ted Tucker's. So Ted Tucker is not 1868. We also know he is not the most expensive, because nothing is somewhat more than that. But something that makes it more interesting, 1868, we know that it has to be less than 1903 and more than Ted Tucker. So it can't be the cheapest, but that tells us that now 1903, if 18, oh, did I put it in the wrong category? Okay, no problem. I'd like to put a little circle when I make a mistake. And this should be, no, that's good. Okay, and then 1903, if 1868 can't be 125, then this can't be 50,000 more, so we cross that out too. Okay, but we're not leaving 1866 too fast, because that's either a Danish Rosa or the one that fetched 15,000. And we know that now that Danish Rosa cannot be the 150,000. Nina Nunez's stamp sold for somewhat less than Lou Lowry, which didn't sell for 200,000. So we cross that out. We also, at this point, basically all we know is that Nina can't be the most, Lou can't be the least. Okay. Inverted blue and the $225,000 stamp, one came out in 1915 and the other was Ray Ricardo. So again, inverted blue can't be 225,000. The one in 1915 is not Ray Ricardo's. And we don't know which is which yet. But I do notice that we're learning a little more about the 1915, which we see a lot, so we'll probably come back here. We'll come back to all of them, but let's start back at the beginning. That's my process. Okay, Capta Bowl, Yellow Nose, Jenny Penny, and the two bought by Odette and Nina Nunez are different stamps. Okay, so here we have two, no, we don't have two. We have more information on Nina Nunez. We now know that she either came out in 1879 or 150,000. Now, here's something we can do. Here's some information. So Nina Nunez has to either be 150,000 or coming out in 1879. We now know that 1879 can only be, thus far, can only be can't only be more than 175,000 or more. It can't be the first one. It also can't be 150,000, but Nina Nunez can be there. So we cross that out because if Nina Nunez was 125,000, then she wouldn't be 150,000, but she also couldn't be 1879, so it would be impossible. And I believe we could do the same thing for Yellow Nose, but that was already crossed out. Oh, wait. Wait. Yellow Nose sold for 50,000 more. Oh, so Yellow Nose can't be the 150,000, so Nina Nunez has to be. Okay, good. We have our first clue. Nina Nunez is 150,000. Let me do it in orange. That'll be a little clearer. And the Yellow Nose came out in 1879. Good. Now we cross out everything for clarity. Okay, but we're not done because we know that both Nina Nunez and Yellow Nose are in our list here. Okay, so now we know that the 1500 cannot be captable. Obviously can't be the Yellow Nose, but it can't be the Jenny Penny either. And 1879, first off, can't be Nina Nunez. Has to be Yellow Nose. Can't be Odette Opal either. And for Obet, yep. That's already crossed out. Good. Okay. Alright, next step. The stamp that was issued in 1868 sold for, let's see. Okay, here's a small one I'm definitely picking up. 1868 is less than 1903, but more than Ted Tucker. Ted Tucker can't be 1903. Oh. 1866 was either the Danish Rosa or the one that fetched 1500. Now, we don't know which one fetched 1500, but because it's Nina Nunez, which we now know, a lot of them are crossed out. So, 1866 could be Bull's Dog, but not Captarosa. It could be a Danish Rose, it could be Frog Eye, it could be Inverted Blue, but it can't be Jenny Penny, and it couldn't be Yellow Nose, but we already know that. Good. Oh, here's something interesting. Nina Nunez's stamp sold for somewhat less than Lou Lowry. That basically we already know because Lou Lowry is already. Nina Nunez is pretty low, so a lot of them are more than her. I guess we can cross that. We can check that off. Okay, here's an interesting one. Yellow Nose sold for 50,000 more than 1821. So, we now know that 1879 is more than, well, I guess it's kind of the same, but we can just make a note that 1879 is 50,000 more than 1821. Speaking of going back and looking at things like that, let's see. The captable is 75,000 more than Jenny Penny. We now know that Jenny Penny can't be this one, so captable cannot be 225. Okay. Oh, and look here. Of Inverted Blue and the 25,000, the $225,000 stamp. One came out in 1915, and the other was bought by Ray Ricardo. Okay, so again, we don't know what this stamp is yet, but we know that it can't be Captable or Jenny Penny. It also can't be inverted blue, but for the sake of what I'm doing, it doesn't matter. Therefore, none of these stamps, neither of these stamps, I should say, could have come out in 1915, because it has to either be inverted blue or a stamp that cost $225,000. So we cross out Captain Bull and Jenny Penny. And the same for Ray Ricardo. He couldn't have bought either of those, because it has to either be inverted blue or something that costs that much. Okay. How about this one? Let's see. Of the stamp that was issued in 1868 in the Bull's Dove, one was bought by Pam Parson, and the other sold for $200,000. Okay. So something interesting. Nina Nunez is not Pam Parson, obviously, and she didn't sell it for $200,000, so she can't be either of those. So we scratch out 1868 and we scratch out Bull's Dove. And if 1868 can't be 150,000, 1903 can't be 200,000. Which means it also can't be Bull's Dove, because Bull's Dove has to either be, well, I guess it could be if Pam Parson is 1903. Okay, never mind that. Okay. The most expensive stamp was either Frog's Eye or the one issued in 1915. Now, we just crossed out a whole bunch that couldn't be 1915. So that means they can't be the most expensive one unless they're Frog's Eye. So, Captain, it's not Frog's Eye, obviously, and it can't be 1915. It can't be the most expensive. Same for Jenny Penny, but that was already crossed out. But we also know, again, Captain Bull is $75,000 more than Jenny Penny, so Jenny Penny cannot be $200,000. That's really narrowing them down. And what did we know about the $200,000 step? Well, I guess Pam Parson could still buy the Jenny Penny, so nothing yet. But one step at a time. Okay. Okay, 1915 stamp sold for somewhat less than 1879. Oh wait, somewhat less. Oh, what am I saying, doy? The most expensive stamp is either Frog's Eye or 1915. 1915 can't be the most expensive. It's Frog's Eye. Check off another one. All right. And now the only one that could be 150,000 is inverted blue. Everything else is crossed out. And of course we know that that is Nina Nunez. So we also put that here. Put a little check here, because just to keep track of which of these 5 different stamps we've found. That's my way of doing it. So the Frog's Eye is the most expensive, and now Nina Nunez. Okay. Less than Lowry. What else do we know about inverted blue? Oh, okay. So inverted blue and the $25,000 stamp. That's great. Well, we learn a lot from this. First off, inverted blue was not bought by Ray Ricardo. It's bought by Nina Nunez. So Ray Ricardo must be the $225,000 stamp. And inverted blue must be 1915. And if we didn't know all that, we could extrapolate and say, hey, 1915 can only be 225,000 or 150,000 Luckily, we know enough that we don't have to do that this time. We can just check it off. Alright, now we do some checking. We know a lot about that 1500, don't we? I mean, excuse me, 1915. Don't we? So, now we know we're in 1915. We know all about it, actually. So let's keep going back. Okay, 1915 stamp sold for somewhat less than 1879. Doesn't really help us. I'll check it off because we don't really need to look at that anymore. 1915. Yes, that's it. Okay. Well, let's see. Well, we don't really need to. Let's finish filling this in, actually. 1915. 1915. Okay. Oh, here's a good one. The stamp that was issued in 1866 was either the Danish Rosa or the one that fetched 1500. Now, we know that the one that fetched 150,000, was inverted blue, not Danish Rosa. So 1866 was Danish Rosa. So we check that off and do our crosses. And we also take a look here and make sure they line up. So if 1866, okay, this one can't be Danish Rosa, so we can cross that out. Good. Alright, since we now know that 150,000 can't be Yellow Nose, I guess we knew that before, but we missed this somehow. It has to be, oh, excuse me, now that'll work. We now know that 1821 can't be 150,000 because that's 1915. So, Yellow Nose can't be 50,000 more than that. We scratch out 200,000. Okay. Oh, and since the most expensive is Frog's Eye, not Yellow Nose, 50,000 less, right there. I like to visualize it with little bells, you could say. Alright. Okay, the stamp that was issued in 1868, the Bull's Dove, one was bought by Pam Parson, the other sold for 200,000. Okay. 1868. Bull's Dove. Okay. So Pam Parson. Okay. So Ray Ricardo is 225,000. So this one here. This isn't Pam Parson, and it's not 200,000, so it can't be Bull's Dove or 1868. Scratch that out. Okay, 1868 is 50,000 less than 1903. So it could be 225, 250, but now it can't be 275. Gotta scratch that out. Alright, so now we know that Frog's Eye, our most expensive, is either 1879 or 1927. Okay, and the stamp that sold in 1868, which we now have pretty well whittled down, is more than Ted Tucker's. So Ted Tucker, if he was here, he'd be more than that. That wouldn't work. But even if he was here, which is what the most 1868 could be, then this couldn't be 1868. It would be less. so he can't be here either. So Ted Tucker is either 125 or 175. I think that means he can't be our Bulls Dove either, because he's not Pam Parson, and he can't be 200,000, so I'll cross out that. All right. Okay. Nothing. Let's see. Yellow nose. Let's see. 1968. That's Lou Lowry. Okay. So, when in doubt, just kind of clear it. It always helps to clean up the board a little. So Ray Ricardo can only be Danish Rosa or a yellow nose. And he can only be 1866. Oh, he can't be 18. Let's put it this way. He can't be 1821. He could be 1866. He can't be 1868. That's good, that's good. Okay, that's good. Nina Nunes we know everything about, so we don't need to do anything more with that. What's next? What's left? Okay, Yellowstone is, yellow, I keep saying Yellowstone, don't I? Yellow nose is 79. Oh, so can't be here. Oh wait, oh here. Here's something to clean up. I was looking how Frog's Eye can only be 1879, except, or 1927, except 1879 is Yellow Nose, so scratch that out. And I like to double check, let's see. 1821 can't be the most expensive because it has to be less than Yellow Nose. 1866 can't be the most expensive because it's the Danish Rosa, and Danish Rosa is not Frog's Eye. 1868. So less than 1903. And let's see. When 1868 couldn't be Ray Ricardo because he's not Pam Parson or 200,000. Then 1903 got crossed off. We found 1915, so all that's left is 1927, our newest stamp and our most expensive. Coincidence? Yes. Don't mind my counting. It really doesn't matter how many there are. I just count things sometimes. So again, let's clean up the board. This can't be, and it can't be here. Good. Oh, what am I thinking? Let's write down some names. Nina Nunes, Ray Ricardo, Frog's Eye, 1927, 1915, inverted blue. Okay. So far, so good. Let's take a look. All right. Start making some X's just so things don't get. I think it's easier to see with the X's than the dashes. That's just me. I'll make it a gradual process. Let's look back at the clues. Okay. When in doubt, clean up the board. Okay. Maybe now I'm looking for values that have been narrowed down to 2. So just for clarity's sake, so something like cap de boule would be interesting because it's either 200,000 or 250,000, but it can't be anything else. So things like that you want to look for. That's one of the reasons I'm making the X's, just to make it more clear to me. If I'm missing something, which I'm sure I am. Okay, let's see. Ted Tucker is less than 1868. Let's see. Oh, okay. Let's see. Frog's Eye isn't one of the ones on the list, which means it could be Odette Opal, or it could be an outlier, and just not one of the 5 that we know. Okay, how about 1868 and the Bull's Dove. One was bought by Pam Parsons, the other sold for 200,000. So the Bull's Dove is either 200,000 or anything that Pam Parsons could be. So here, here, and here. Not much help there. $1868. We know a lot about that. Okay. Well, 1868 is. Oh, wait. Could it be 200,000? Yes, it could be. So either 1868 is 200,000, or it's 175,000, and it's Pam Parson. If either one of those couldn't be that thing, we'd know. But we don't have any clues about 175,000. That stinks. Let's see. Okay, here's one we missed. Jenny can't be 1903, just because that one, they're mutually exclusive. So we can cross that out. Anything else that she can't be? Can't be 1927, obviously. I don't know how I missed that. So Jenny Penny can only be 1821, 1866, but not really, because It's Danish Rosa, so not that. And then here, a couple. 1868, 79 is taken. Oh, here's some interesting something. Oh, no. I was going to say Jenny Penny can only be 1821 or 1868. So these here can't be either. So we would cross them out. But they're already crossed out, so we'll save it for next time. But let's see if anything else falls in that category. Yeah, I don't think so. For captable, it can't be 1915 or 1927, but those are taken anyway. $1903 can only be captable or bull's dove. Wonder why that is. Don't know if it was. Oh wait, that's great. Okay, so due to things in general being crossed out here, let's see. 1903 can only be bull's dove or captable, but right now we have it as either 250,000 or 225,000. 225,000 is only Danish Rosa, 1866, or Yellow Nose, 1879. It can't be 1903. So we cross that out, and we have our 1903. Great. And we know that 1903 can only be captable or bull's dove, so we cross these out too. And we know that Yellow Nose is 50,000 more than 821. We just cross that out. 821 can't be 200,000. Okay. Now, okay. I'm interested in Danish now, unless I forgot to cross something out, which probably did. I think I'm next interested in Danish Rosa. Let's quick look at that. We know it's 1866. Yes. So it could be here. Oh, let's cross that out. Oh, I don't know why it wasn't crossed out already. Like I said, I'd probably dream to cross things out. I'm recording this very late. Danish Rose. Guess there's nothing else we know about it, but how about... Okay, let's look back at this one. Okay. $1868. I guess we're kind of... Oh, okay. So we have something interesting here. We have a pair of Yellow Nose and 821. Yellow Nose sold for 50,000 more than 1821. So there's only two options here. Either 1820, because we have only two places these two can both be, either 1821 is here and Yellow Nose is here, or 1821 is here and Yellow Nose is here. But 1821 cannot be here and Yellow Nose be there because that's not $50,000 difference. That means anything on this row of 175,000 has to either be Yellow Nose or 1821. Now, we don't know, because these are in different categories, we don't know much about it, so luckily we do know what year it is, so we know now that this has to be either 1821 or 1879. It can't be 66 or 68, so we cross those out. It also can't be anything that's not yellow nose, or any stamp that can't be in 1821. So let's see. Danish Rosa can't be 1821, and it can't be yellow nose, obviously, so we cross that out. And besides that, everything else is already crossed out for us, so that's good. Okay. Let's see. So let's work this out even more. Bull's Dove, could that be 175,000? It has to either be Pam Parsons or 200,000. Can Pam Parsons be 175,000? Yeah, I guess so. Oh, wait. Go back. We have the cold, hard process of elimination. It's given us our 1868, which is $50,000 less than 1903. Oh, wait a minute. We've known this for a while. Oops. Okay, first time recording this. So let's check that off. Checkaroo. Okay, now we know that 1868 is 200,000. That means Pam Parson is the Bull's Dove. All right, and now we clean up the board a little bit. So it could be there, it could be there. Nope. There we go. And let's see, let's keep going. Let's keep cleaning up. Bull's Dove can't be here. Pam Parson can't be there. Okay, side note, Pam Parson and Bull Dove, neither of those are one of the 5 stamps we have listed in our first clue. So that's one of the 2 that aren't in there. That's fine. But we'll just make a little note. Ray Ricardo could be Danish Rosa, meaning he'd be the other outlier, or he could be Yellow Nose, which means he'd be one of the 5. We don't know yet. Okay, 1868, somewhat more than Ted Tucker. Well, that's, yeah, we can cross that out, because that's definitely true. Okay. Okay, let's look at 1866. Okay, no, we already took care of that. Danish Rosa. Oh, 1866, Danish Rosa. So this can't be Danish Rosa. Let's see, not 1866, 1868. And that only leaves one that it could be, Cap de Bull, and 50,000 less than that. Oh, I mean, 75,000 less than that gets us Jenny Penny. That's our cheapest one. Now, Odette Opal can't be either of these, so we'll cross her out. And we'll clean up the board a little. Right here we have a Bull's Dove, and that is 1903. And it's also Pam Parsons. All right, let's clean up the board. Now we're getting somewhere. In fact, let's take a break and write down some names, because we have Pam Parson, and we have a lot more stamps. My grandpa was a philatelist, by the way. 1903, 1988. Okay, I think we're caught up now. Alright, let's take a look. Oh, we almost forgot Quinn Quaid, who, thanks to the cold hard process of elimination, is our 200,000. If I wasn't filming this, I'd probably just write QQ, NN, RR. Okay. So now we know that 1868 is the 200,000 one. So Quinn Quaid is 1868. And Captain Bull. Another one of the 5 is found. That might help us later, or it might not, we'll see. 125 is Ted Tucker, also Jenny Penny. And that's either 1821 or 1866. Did we not find 1866 yet? No. Oh, 1888. Pardon me. Cross that out. It's not 79. Cross this out. That should already be crossed out. Okay. Alright, here we have Yellow Nose. Now here, this Yellow Nose here could either be Opal or Lou or Laurie, but Odette Opal cannot be Yellow Nose, so we know this is Lou Lowry. And Odette Opal is here with a Frog's Eye, our most expensive and our youngest. Highest year. Okay, Yellow Nose is Lowry. Danish Rosa is Ray. Yes, because it should be crossed out. So we matched all the stamps to their owners, actually. Jenny Penny is Ted Tucker. Nina Nunez is Inverted Blue. Then we have Lou Lowry for Yellow Nose. Quinn Quaid for Captain Bull. Ray Ricardo for Danish Rosa. Okay. Pam Parson for Bull's Dove, and Odette Opal for Frog's Eye. Alright. Let's clean up the board a little. You get so carried away crossing things out that you forget to check it. You get so carried away checking things off, you forget to cross everything out. It's very late that I'm filming this. Okay, Yellow Nose. Yellow Nose is 1879. We already know that. So we cross that out. Make some adjustments. For example, now we have 2. And that should be about it. That should be it. Now we know that Jenny Penny is 1821, the cheapest and the oldest, somehow. Ray Ricardo and Danish Rosa is 1866. Alright, now we check the answer key. I cover the next one with my hand. Okay, we have Ted Tucker, Nina Nunez, Lou Lowry, Quinn Quaid, Ray Ricardo, Pam Parson, Odette Opal. Then we have Jenny Penny, Inverted Blue, Yellow Nose, Captain Bull, Danish Rosa, Bull's Dove, and Frog's Eye. And finally we have 1821, 1915, 1879, 1868. I wrote 88, but it's 68. There's no 88. Wait, 18. I wrote 1688 instead of 1868. But 1866, 1903, and 1927, we got it. Check. All good. All right. Thanks for watching. Now I just fill out the board in triumph.